Welcome back. The City News team has arrived in the UK as preparations continue for the coronation of King Charles. City News' special correspondent Lisa LaFlamme is joining us live from London this morning with the latest on the ground right outside of Buckingham Palace. Good morning, Lisa, and I'll get right to it. You can see already the crowds behind you. Tell me a little bit about how that has changed. It looks like a lot of people have been lining the streets, but as we get closer and closer to Saturday, it's looking like a lot more.
Absolutely. And Tammie, I can tell you there's a bit of a delay on the line here. Obviously, with so many of the world media here, it definitely puts some pressure on the system, but pressure on the system as well with the thousands who have arrived already here. Just dramatic difference from yesterday. Of course, the sunshine helps, but thousands of people who just want to feel a little closer to the king. And I can tell you the king is in the house because every time the Royal Standard flag is flying over Buckingham Palace, it means that His Majesty is here. There is a lot of security around here as well, as you can imagine. It's always the case, but especially today because last night there was a bit of a security scare. A man was arrested throwing shotgun cartridges through the gates of Buckingham Palace onto the palace grounds. He also was carrying a knife and allegedly saying he wanted to kill the king. He had a backpack they considered suspicious, so they did have a controlled explosion. But all this to say that obviously when you have something of this magnitude with so many world leaders and heads of state and royalty from around the world and tourists converging in one city and one really small grid, when you consider the space between Buckingham Palace and Westminster Abbey, it is also a steel ring of security. They did make a very important point about saying that was not a terror threat last night. They consider it a mental health incident. So I think it's important to put that in perspective also, Tammie.
All right. And we know security, of course, is top of mind, but we have the rehearsals that have been happening as well for the big day, just with all the pomp and circumstance. Tell us a little bit about those rehearsals and when they're happening, because it looks like we've seen some footage of them happening really late at night.
Can you imagine if you just land in this city and you walk toward Buckingham Palace at about 2 o'clock in the morning last night? There would have been an amazing spectacle. 7,000 military precision members of the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, all in a full dress rehearsal for that journey between Buckingham Palace and Westminster Abbey, just to make sure that everything is absolutely perfect for the big day on Saturday. These are members from 34 different nations, including Canada, of course, and it was actually just a few days ago that the King was honored by the RCMP to celebrate their 150th anniversary. He's made the honorary head or commissioner, I'm not sure actually, so don't quote me on that, of the RCMP, but it is an honorary role. And he was given the horse Noble, a beautiful 7-year-old horse from the musical ride, who will also be part of that procession on Saturday. So a little bit of Canada here as well, as is always the case, but it really is a celebratory mood here right now, although there will inevitably be those who try to upstage the coronation. It's always the way, especially with the debate over the monarchy and the relevancy. So there will be some protests. They expect it. But again, as I say, security is prepared for whatever unfolds.
You talked about Canada's presence there as we prepare for the coronation. We know that Justin Trudeau is heading there as well. Any more details on Canadian dignitaries that will be attending the coronation?
Absolutely. The Governor General is already landed here in London. She will have a private meeting with King Charles III tomorrow. And, you know, obviously, as our head of state, she is the representative in Canada to His Majesty. They've certainly met before. They met in September during the period of mourning for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. They also met in Canada when it was just about a year ago that King, then Prince of Wales, Prince Charles and Camilla were in Canada, if you recall. They did a very, very personal and intimate tour with Indigenous communities across Canada, and that will be replicated here. There are some dignitaries coming for the coronation from our Indigenous community in Canada, and the Prime Minister will be arriving late Friday, I believe, because the Liberal Convention is also happening this week, so there's so much going on. They will all be front and center, though, in Westminster Abbey for the big day on Saturday, and we, of course, will have live coverage, so you got to get your strong coffee ready, Tammie, and you can wear your jammies because the show starts at 4 a.m. Eastern time. So get your scones recipes all set for the big day. We're really excited to bring you just all of this, the analysis, but the most amazing traditions that date back 1,000 years. And keep in mind, it's been 70 years since we've seen a coronation. Well, none of us, most of us have ever seen it, so it's a first.
Yeah, it'll be a first for so many of us. Got the scones, got the fascinators ready. We're ready to roll for Saturday morning, and we can't wait to see the coverage that you bring us. Lisa, thank you so much for all of this. That is Lisa LaFlamme live in London this morning. Thanks once again.